So we are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks practice. Today in this video we'll be discussing the Geeks for Geeks problem of the day for 5th of February. The name of the problem is Transfiguration. So consider giving me a +1 in the chat so that I know that things are working fine and we can start with the session. Also you can ask your friends to join in so that we can start with this session, right? Also let me know how many people have solved this question and what was your approach. In this particular problem I'll be discussing the most optimal approach for solving this problem, and I'll also be explaining you like how this problem is solved, right? So this problem has not been asked in any of the companies as of now because there is no tag present. So the problem says that you will be having a professor, like professor is there, like there is a Harry Potter kind of story there, but still like they will be giving you some string. First of all, they will be giving you some string in as an input, and then they want to ask you that whether it is possible to convert it into the string B or not. Please give me a +1 in the chat and like the video. I can see a lot of people have started joining, so consider giving me a +1 in the chat and like the video as well so that we can start with the session, right? Okay, so in this particular problem what will be given is, you'll be given, let's say you'll be given a string, right? Let's say you will be given a string. Let's say you are given a string, like if I give you dog, right? If I give you a string like dog, so what you can do is you can choose its any character. You can choose any character, like let's say you choose this character, this particular character, and what you can do with this particular character, you can bring it to the front. So you bring this O to the front and this will look like O is coming to the front, then DG, right? Then next up what you can do is, next up maybe you can choose this G if you want, and you can bring this to the front as well. Like from the original string itself you can choose this G and you can maybe bring this to the front as well, so it will look like D, like GOD, right? Something like this, right? So this is what's happening. Like they have said that you'll be given a string, and what you can do is you can choose its character. Let's say if I give you a string like, let's say geeks, if I give you this string, so what you can do is maybe you can choose this K, this any character, and you can bring it to the front of the string like this, right? And you can, this string will now look like this. So what they are saying is they will be giving you a string A and they will be giving you a string B, right? This is what you will be given, and what you have to do is you have to help Harry to calculate the minimum number of times he needs to use this particular move to make the string A convert it to B, right? To convert string A to B, you want to find the minimum number of moves such that you can convert the string A to B. Like if I talk about the another test case that has been given to us, so if I talk about Geeks for Geeks, right? If I talk about Geeks for Geeks, so let's take this example. So if I talk about Geeks for Geeks, so what they are saying is, like the string A is the first string that we have, A. The string is this, Geeks for Geeks. Now they're saying that the string B that we'll be having is nothing but for geeks, right? For geeks, something like this, right? And you have to tell what is the minimum number of moves in which you can convert the given string to this string, right? That is, you can convert this string A to this string. What is the minimum number of moves? So as I told you, like what you can do is in one move you can choose a particular character and bring it to the front. You can choose one particular character and bring it to the front. So what you can do is, if you will observe deeply, so what you can do is you can choose this R, you can choose this R and you can bring it to the front. So what will the string look like? This R will come here, right? This R would come here, and imagine that FO is still there, right? Like this, GEEKS FOGEKS, and you have R coming at the start, right? Is up till now things are clear to you? Up till now things are clear to you guys, right? So this is how it would look like. Now what they are saying is, now this string is looking like this, right? So this R comes from here, this R comes here, right? After this R comes here, right? Then what can you see in the option? You can see that there is an O. So you pick this O, you pick this particular O and you bring it to the front. So this means that this is the second move in which you are picking up a character and you are moving it to the front. So you pick this O, you bring it to the front, right? Now next up what you do is, you can see that there is an F at the start, right? You can see there is an F at the start. So what you do is you pick this particular character up and you bring it to the front. So you bring it to the front, so this becomes 4, and this gets eradicated away, and the rest of the string is geeks, right? Does this make sense? And the number of moves to do so is nothing but 3. Does this make sense? DS Akare, does this make sense to you? And others like Mahesh and Yash, is this part clear to you guys? Is it clear to everyone in the chat? You can just write a +1 in the chat for a little acknowledgement if this much part is clear to everyone, right? You can pick in one move. What you can do is you can pick a particular character and you can bring it to the front of the string, and you have to tell what is the minimum number of moves in which you can convert string A to B. If that is not possible, then you have to return -1. If it is possible, then you have to return the minimum number of moves. Okay, perfect. This is what we have to do. Now let's move down. Let's check if there is another test case or not. So if there is ABC and there is BCA, let's see. Let's check out this case. If let's say the first string that we have is ABC and the second string is BCA, something like this, right? So I have to convert this string ABC to BCA. Observe quickly. I have to convert this ABC to BCA. What I can see is that if I'm moving from the back, so I can observe that, like, if I'm here and this pointer is here, right? I can see that these two are not the same, right? These two are not the same. Hi John. These two are not the same. Yes, what is your doubt? DS Kare, you can tell me. You can ask your doubts in the chat, right? So if I'm at this particular character, I can see these two are not same. So what I'll say is, that okay, this is not same. So what I can do is, if I am at here on this particular string, I can see that these two are not same. So that means that this particular character should not be there, because this is my final string. This BCA is my final string. So that means this particular character should be brought to the start. So I'll say that okay, let's take the number of moves. Let's make the number of move as 1. Let's take one move and bring this C to this side. So I'll say okay. Now what will happen? Now my pointer is pointing to this B. Now since I'm pointing at this B, what is for loop? Okay, like this is not a stream where I can tell you that. Okay, if I have B, if I am pointing at B and the last character is A, can this be equal? No, it cannot be. Why? Because B is there. So that means that I need to bring B towards the front. Okay, so I'll bring B towards the front. So that means that the number of moves is 2. Now I'll check. Now my pointer will be pointing to this point again, and I'll check. I check that this is the current character and this is the current character. Also, you can see that these two have become equal, right? Does this make sense? That the number of moves would be 2. The number of moves is nothing but 2. How? You can see, right? You have to iterate on the very first string from the end. You have to iterate on the first string from the end and the last string, like from the initial string, original string from the end, and the second string, the final string from the end. And if a particular ith character is not same in the first string, then in that case what you have to do is you have to move that character to the front, and then you have to iterate back. You have to keep on moving, right? As I told you, like if this was what? If this was ABC, then this pointer, I pointer is here, J pointer is here, right? So this character C is not equal to the character A. So that means that this character needs to be at the front. So I'll say that okay, I'll take one move, I'll bring the C here, and my I would decrement by 1. So my I would be pointing at this particular point like this. Then I'm pointing here. So the ith character is B, the jth character is A. Both of them are not equal. So what I'll do? I'll simply say that okay, I need to bring it to the front as well. So I'll bring B to the front, and now my I would be pointing to this point, and I can see that they are equal, right? So ultimately what will happen? Now I'll keep on checking and they are equal, right? So does this make sense to everyone? Is the approach clear to everybody? I'll be explaining it on the Geeks for Geeks example as well, but first let me know if this basic example is clear to everyone or not. Is this basic example clear to everybody? Is it clear? Is this basic sample example clear to everyone? Then I can consider moving ahead. Please give me a +1 in the chat if everyone is clear with this example, and also like the video. I can see a lot of people are watching, so you can also like the video, right? Now let's come to this particular example, that is Geeks for Geeks. Okay, so let's say the example is nothing but Geeks for Geeks. Now this is my original string. This is my original string, right? Intuition, I'm telling you the intuition. Basically, you have to take one character and bring it to the front. So the intuition is that you have to check from the end. You have to check both the strings from the end, and then you can check it. Like now, let's have this. So if the second string is what? The second string is for the final string is for geeks, right? Something like this. So what I can do is I can easily observe that from the front the strings are not equal, right? And I need to bring some characters to the front to make the first string equal to the second string, or to make the original string become the second string, right? You can like the video. I can see a lot of people are watching, so you can consider to like the video. Aditya Agarwal, this is the intuition I'm telling you, right? That I'll point my I to this particular point and I'll point my J to this particular point. If the characters are same, then I can say that okay, this character and this character is same. So I'll say that okay, I can move. So I'll move my I to this particular point and my J to this particular point. Now K and K are also same. So that means I'll move my I pointer to E and the J pointer to E as well, right? Then what will happen? I can see that E and E are also same. So I'll move to this E. Now this pointer J moves to this E. Both are same. So I'll say that okay, now my pointer would move to G. If it moves to G, I pointer moves to G in the first string. So the J pointer moves to G in the second string as well at the same time. So I see that both of them are equal. So I keep on decrementing them. Now what happens is, now this one thing that happens. What happens? I can see my I is pointing to R and my J is pointing to S. I can see that my I is pointing to R and my J is pointing to S. Right? Which string should I change? This is the original string. Right? This is the original string. And this is the final string. So that means this string will not get changed. This string will not get changed. The final string will not get changed, right? You have to count the number of moves that you will take to convert the original string to the final string, right? You have to do this. So that's why what you will do is if you have this original string, one is the final string, right? You can easily observe that this particular R is not here. So that's why you should bring it to the front. So what you will do is you will say that okay, I'll bring this R to the front. So this is F, this is O. You will bring this R to the front, and now you will decrement your I. So I would be pointing at this particular point. Now I check. So the ith character is O, and here on the final string the ith character is J. So are these two same? No, they are not the same, right? Since they are not the same, so that means for this particular character O as well, I need to bring it to the front. So I'll bring it to the front, right? After this, what will happen? My pointer is pointing at this particular point. Now F and S are also not the same. If up till now things are clear, you can write yes in the chat. Now F and S are also not the same. So that means ith character is still not the same. So I'll change what? I'll change the original string, this string. So I'll make F move to this side. So I'll make F move to this side, and this geeks would come here, right? This geeks would look like here, and my I would be pointing at this particular point. Now what has happened? Up till now the number of moves is nothing but 3, because I've brought 3 characters from the somewhere in the middle to the front, right? From anywhere in the string to the front I have brought them. Now the ith character is S, and the jth character is also S. If they are same, so I'll move I and J both. So they move. So I moves to K and J moves to K. Right? Since both are same, so that's why I'll move my ith character to E. Jth character will also move to E. Then ith character moves to this E. Jth character moves to this E. Both are same. That's why I'll keep on moving. Then after that, what will happen? My character G that I am having, this particular character and this particular character G are also the same. So that's why what I'll say that okay, that is perfectly fine, and then I'll keep on moving. Now you'll say that this part also I'll be checking, but basically I'll not be checking this part because I'll not be manipulating the string. Like I have to count the number of moves, right? And what was the original length? The original string was ending here, right? The original string that I had, it was ending here, right? Assume that there was a 4 in the between, right? There was a 4 in between. So I did not change that 4. I did not change the string. Like the string was like this only, Geeks for Geeks. It was Geeks for Geeks only. What I did was I was moving my pointer here, first here, there, here, here if this character is not the same, then I increment by number of moves that I'm taking, and I move to the next character like this. If both the characters are same, then I was moving by INJ. So in this case, what will happen? I will move to the end of the string. So this is very first string, this original string will get exhausted. This original string gets exhausted, and if any of the strings get exhausted, so that means that I have made them equal, right? And this would be the number of moves. Now there is one more thing with this question. There is one more thing with this question. Let's say I had something like a geeks, right? And let's say I had another string, let's say GEE, let's say K and maybe S, not S, but let me take A. Like let's say I have these two characters, right? If I have these two strings, now can I make them equal? Can I make the, or let's say if I had a string like this, AGEEK, right? This is string. This is the original string and this is the final string. Can I make them equal? Can I convert this original string? Can I convert this original string to this final string? No, I cannot. No, I cannot. Why? Because here the number of G's is 1. G is occurring one time, E is occurring 2 times, K is occurring 1 time, S is occurring 1 time. Here G is occurring 1 time, so that's fine. E is occurring 2 times, so that's also fine. K is occurring 1 time, that's also fine, but A is occurring 1 time, and S is occurring 0 number of times. S is occurring 0 number of times. So that's why I cannot convert. I need, for making the string, original string, for converting the original string into the final string, I need to, you can like the video, all of you can consider to like the video, okay? For converting the original string into my final string, I want all the characters' frequency to be same. I want the frequency of each and every character of my both the strings, original and the final string, should have equal characters. All the same characters should be in equal amount, right? Like, let's take another example, okay? Let's say if I have God, and if let's say I have a character like, let's say if I have, let's say, dog, and if I have mod, can I make these two equal? This is my original string, right? This is my original string and this is my final string. Can I make these two equal? Can I make these two equal? No, I cannot. Why? What's the reason? Because this M is not occurring here, right? So both the characters should have the same frequency, right? In every string, every character should be having the same character should be having the same frequency. Please write agree or a +1 in the chat if you agree with me on this part, right? That to convert it, there should have been a G here, right? A G, if G was there, then I could have converted it or thought of converting it, right? So the frequency of each character should be the same in both the strings. That is one of the constraints that we have. Now, how will you check it? One way to check if the frequency of the like all the characters is same in both or not. One way to check that if both of them have the same characters jumbled or not. One way of checking is to make a map 1 to count the frequency of every character in the first string, and make a map 2 to count the frequency of every character in the second string. But this will take a space complexity of order of n, right? This would take a space complexity of order of n. If I am in the map 1, I am storing the frequency of the strings of the first string, and if in the map 2 I am storing the frequency of the characters of the second string. In that case, this would take a space complexity of order of n. Can I do it better? Yes, I can do it better. How I can do it better? What I could do is, like, there's some subtraction for concept that I can use. Like if let's say I had DOG and DOG, right? So what if I subtract this D with this D, right? If I subtract the same character with same character, so it will effectively become 0. So if I subtract this D with D, so it would become O, like 0. This O with O, so it would become 0. This G with G, so G also becomes 0. So the effective sum becomes 0, right? No, you are saying correct, but still, like in such case, if I give you, if let's say in the string, this string only has smaller case alphabets, like I think it might, like you can see only smaller case alphabet, but what if the test case is having higher case alphabets as well as some other characters as well? In that case, your size would not be 26, right? So you cannot say that, right? Now this is the thing, right? The sum is 0, the effective sum is 0. Another way to do it, let's say if I was given dog and I was given God, right? So what I do is, will this also have a sum 0? Like in my sum, what I'll do is, in my sum I'll have d, I'll say d minus g, right? D minus g. So this would be nothing. Let me show you what will happen, right? For this particular case, what will happen is that my sum would be looking like what? Let me show you. So this will be d minus g, then plus o, and then minus o plus g minus d. This is how the string would build, right? Like I will do what? I will do sum plus is equal to a of I. I'll add the first character and then I'll subtract the corresponding second character. Sum minus is equal to b of I. So like d sum plus is equal to a of I. So this means d is getting added and the corresponding character, ith character in the second string, is getting subtracted. So that means d minus g. Similarly, o will get added. So plus o minus o, right? G will get added, and d will get subtracted. Now this would be the string. Now let's do this. So there's one positive d, there's one negative d. So both of them cancel each other. There's one negative g, there's one positive g. Both of them cancel each other, right? Now there's one positive o. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you for the compliment. Now there's one positive o, there's one negative o. So the effective sum becomes what? The effective sum becomes nothing but 0, right? 0. So what I can say is I iterate through the complete string. And what I do is, like, I iterate through the complete string, right? For I starts from 0, I is lesser than n, something like this, and I do an I plus plus, right? If my, like, what I'll do is I'll do sum plus is equal to a of I, and then what I do is sum minus is equal to b of I. This is what I do. Now once I've done this, so if after coming out of this loop, if my sum is equal to 0, in that case there is possible, in that case the answer is possible, and I'll calculate the moves, right? I'll calculate the moves. I'll calculate the minimum number of moves, right? I'll think of calculating the minimum number of moves. If the sum is 0, then I can think of converting the original string to the final string, because the sum is 0. So in that case I can think of calculating the minimum number of moves in which I can convert the original string into the final string. Else if the situation is like this, if the sum is not equal to 0, in that case I'll return a -1, because that would not be possible, right? That's it. Now how will I do this? That's the challenge that lies ahead. So what I'll do is if my sum is equal to 0, right? So I'll do what? I'll do nothing much. What I'll do is I'll have an I would be nothing but like the first string, let's say a dot size -1 or something like this, right? It would be pointing to the end, and j would be pointing to the end of the other string. So b dot size -1. So this one will be pointing to the starting of the original string, one will be pointing to the starting of the ending of the original string, and one would be pointing to the ending of the this final string, right? So what I'll do is, like, if I had like this, right? If I had geeks and if I have AGEKX, so for this the answer would not exist, right? For, like, if this was the case. But if I had this case, like let's say this geeks for geeks, and if I had for geeks, right? For geeks, right? This, so it should point to the end, right? Initially it should point to the end. If it happens that counting part was really great, thanks a lot for the compliment. That is why I tried to explain it in the best possible way. So what I do is, if my a of I is equal to b of I, if both the characters are same, then what I do, since I'm at the last pointer, so since I am at the end of the string, so I'll do I minus minus, right? And I do j minus minus, right? This is what I would do, because if both the characters are same, I'll move my I as well as I'll move my j. You can consider to like this video. I'm trying to put in a lot of effort, and also you can consider to share it with your friends if you like the effort, right? Else the thing is, else what I'll do, else I'll simply move I. I'll only move I, and I'll do count plus plus. Count plus plus is what? I'll calculate the number of moves. I'll calculate it as a move, and how many number of times I'll be doing this. So this particular part I'll keep on repeatedly doing it, right? This particular part from here till here, I'll like here till this counting part, I'll keep on doing this repetitively. So how much number of times? I'll say while I is greater or equal to 0 and j is greater or equal to 0. Right, both of them should be greater or equal to 0. Does that make sense? Please give me a plus one if this approach makes sense to all of you, right? What I'm saying is your I and j both were pointing, right? That's perfect. But what I'm saying is when will you do the job? Your I should be greater or equal to 0 and your j should also be greater or equal to 0. If any one of them is not greater than equal to 0, so that means that you have done the job, right? What I was saying, if my s of I is equal to s of j, not s of I, if my a of I is equal to b of j, right? Something like this. So that means if the end character of both the strings, final and the original, are same, then in that case you do I minus minus and j minus minus. So you move both the characters by one. Like if in this case you had geeks for geeks and you had for geeks, right? For geeks. So like this much part was same. So your I would be pointing here and j would be pointing here, right? After some time. Now else if that is not the case, so you will do a count plus plus because you have to move your I only, and that means that the current character that which at I is, will have to move it to the beginning. You will have to move it to the beginning. Like you move this R to the beginning, right? You move this R to the beginning. So R moves here, then you move this O to the beginning, so second move, then you move this F to the beginning, so the third move, right? And then what happened, this S and this S was equal, so then you kept on checking and you kept on checking till here, right? Till I is greater or equal to 0, right? Does this make sense to everyone? This is how you will do, this is how you will do it, right? This is how you will do it, and in the end you just return the count, that is the number of moves that you have taken. Does this make sense to everyone? Please give me a plus one in the chat if this makes sense, right? Let me show you that my code is getting accepted. So I'll just submit the code first of all for all of you to see that it's getting submitted. So you can see that the code got submitted. Now let's check out this particular question, like how I did its implementation actually. So what I did was, there could be one of the cases, right? One of the cases could be, let's say if I have a string like this. Let's say I have this thing, right? And another string that I have is God. So if both the strings are not, this is one of the edge cases, right? This is one of the edge cases, that if the first string's length is what? The size of the first string is 4, the size of the final string is 3. So if the size of both the strings are not the same, then I can never make them equal. So in that case also I'll return a -1. Right, I'll return a -1. That is also one of the things. So what I'll be doing is, if the size is not the same for both the strings, so I'll return a -1. Otherwise, I'll have a n, that is the size of the first string, because both of them will be having the same size after that. I'll have my I, I'll have my j, I'll have my sum, I'll have my count, right? So how will I do it? I'll let you know. Like I would be pointing to n-1 after this, right? What I'm saying is, if my I, like I'll iterate until I is lesser than 0. So you can also write it like this: for I starts from 0 and I is lesser than n, and you will do I plus plus. So you'll iterate through this string, right? You'll iterate through this string, and as I told you, the sum part, right? That you add a of I, the ith character of a, and you subtract the corresponding ith character of b. If in the end the sum becomes is not 0, if in the end the sum is not 0, so what does that mean? If in the end the sum is not 0, then that simply indicates that if the sum is not 0, then I'll return a -1, because that means that both of them are not having the equal same characters, right? All the characters are not same, frequencies are not same, right? Otherwise I mark my I to j-1 and I point to my j to n-1, like this, right? I mark my j and I to the end of the strings, and I just simply iterate, right? What I iterate on the string. If the ith character is same in both the strings, on both the strings, so I do an I minus minus and a j minus minus, right? If the ith character is same, I do I minus minus, j minus minus. Otherwise, I'll do what? I'll count this as a move, because I'll be moving my I, because the current character at which my I is, I'll be moving it to the start, and I'll do a count plus plus, because I'll take one move, right? And I'll change my I to the next index. I'll move my I one towards the left to check for the next character, and then in the end, once the counting part is done, so I'll simply return the count that will store the minimum number of moves. Does this make sense to everyone? Is everyone clear with the question? This question is clear to everyone. Now this question can be like, let's talk about the time complexity for this particular question. So as I already discussed, but sum can be manipulated in the way given substrings by different characters. Yes, in that case, like sum will be 0, sum will be 0. If the sum is 0, then the answer is always possible. Abhishek, if the sum is 0, then the answer is always possible, right? So what I'm saying is, the time complexity for this particular approach, would be nothing but order of n, because we are iterating through the strings once, and the space complexity would be order of 1, because we are not using any additional data structure, any other array, any other map, anything like that. We are not using it. So the space complexity, we are just using variables, so it would be order of 1, right? Please give me a +1 in the chat and like the video as well if this much part is clear to everyone. Is the question clear to everyone? If the question is crystal clear to everyone, you can mention that in the chat. So this was the problem that was asked. It was a relatively easy problem, I would say, but still, like, such problems you should keep on doing, because it enhances your problem solving capacities, right? So that's why you should do it. Now one more thing that I would like to tell you is, we have on Geeks for Geeks, we have this channel that is Code Era. So it's an initiative by GFG, so you can consider to check out on this channel. On this channel I bring lead code weekly contest, bi-weekly contest. Apart from this, lead code daily challenges, code forces, editorials, a lot of things like that. Thanks a lot, Peaky Blinder. So in this case, you can consider to check out this channel and maybe subscribe it if you think that this will help you. You can check out the channel. You can just search Code Era in YouTube and it will come, right? It will the channel will come. You can consider to check out this channel if you like my way of teaching, right? Because most of the videos there that are there in the channel I have taken. So thanks a lot for joining in for today. I'll see you soon in the next live. Till then, take care, stay safe. Thank you.